Let's continue the conversation with David Leopold, an immigration attorney. David, what do you have to say to that? That there are people who are in this country who are not following the law, that there are laws in place, and that America, specifically different states, has incentivized being here illegally, getting a driver's license when you're not actually able to even work a job?
Well, what I say is let's look at the facts. I mean, the facts are that the state of Florida is wholly dependent on undocumented workers. I hope that Officer Dave, who you just had on, is ready to pick tomatoes, ready to pick avocados, ready to pick oranges, because nobody's going to be left in that state to do it. This is about a white nationalist movement and talking point. And Governor DeSantis is really running for president. That's what's going on here. And he's trying to outflank Donald Trump on the extremist right. And this is not about immigration. This is not about undocumented immigration. This is about appealing to an extremist white nationalist base. All right. This has nothing to do with immigration policy. And in fact, the law that he's talking about is just trying to criminalize people for driving is ridiculous. Dave here talks about undocumented workers, right? Well, if somebody's driving into Florida with a driver's license, then he or she is documented. We have hundreds of thousands of undocumented youth who have a program called DACA, and that allows them to go to school and to work and to live in the United States until Congress fixes the law. If Officer Dave and Governor DeSantis really want to do something to keep Florida safe and to keep the rest of the United States safe, then I suggest that they call their congresspeople and senators and tell Congress to get the job done.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Two things. One is that there are a lot of people who are good Samaritans, in addition to those states who are trying to figure things out. You look at New York, inundated with the number of immigrants that are there. They don't have any more shelter space. You look at Washington, D.C.'s Democratic governance saying we need help from the federal government. Wouldn't you agree that this immigration system is so broken and so collapsed that it's really been left up to the states to try to figure something out when they do feel overwhelmed?
Well, the immigration system needs, to put it mildly, needs an update. I mean, this is a law that was written in the 60s for an America that was not, when this law was written and you had a hardware store on Main Street, you were competing against the person across the street with a hardware store. Nowadays, if you have a hardware store, you're competing with somebody in France. This is a global economy, Adrienne, and we need to obviously update the immigration law. This is a question of Congress rolling up its shirt sleeves and getting to work and stop screaming about illegal immigration and do something. The economy, papers no less conservative than the Wall Street Journal, hardly a liberal bastion, has criticized Governor DeSantis's ridiculous extremist law. The state of Florida, the Palm Beach Post, the only newspapers in the state of Florida have come out against Governor DeSantis's law. So let's be really honest, Adrienne. This is not about immigration policy. This is about outflanking Donald Trump for the nomination for the Republican nomination next year. So if we want to talk, if we want to have a real debate about immigration policy, let's have at it. I think everybody agrees. Everybody who honestly approaches this issue, Adrienne, agrees that we need to update to fix this immigration system. But we are really cutting our nose to spite our face if we don't recognize that criminalizing undocumented workers rather than giving them a fair pathway to citizenship, one which vets people, one which puts them through security systems and vetting, makes us all safer.
Yeah.
Right.
If there was such a system in place with vetting, if there was such a thing as them working in the actual industries that are short-staffed right now. David Leopold, thank you so much, as always, for your time. We're out of time right now.
Sure.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.